review this game. So the game started with Caro-kann, and white play Nf3, black push d pawn, so d3. So actually d3 is not the best move, because after trading the pawn, the white queen will be traded. So the game will be turned into end game very early. And also the king cannot castle. I mean, it's not a big problem if you don't have the queens on the board when your king is not able to castle, but it's hard to connect the rooks if you cannot castle. Maybe you need to move the king to e2, but you have to move the bishop first and then move the king to e2, and then the rooks can be connected. So yeah, d3 is not the common move. The best move turned out to be e5, so we can close the center, or knight c3. But in my opinion, I don't think knight f3 is the best choice if I would play, especially if you were a rating around 1014 for 400. So I would play d4 to control the center and either close the center or knight c3. So d3, e6, black, so actually we can take the pawn. As I said, we can turn the game into end game. So e6 is also, I mean, it's okay to play, but we need to be aware of the movement or development of this light square bishop. Bishop e2, bishop c5. So I will play c5 first, and then knight to c6. So I will have a big space at the queen side. It's better to expand your space, and then it makes your piece development easier. So, and the problem with bishop c5 is once white push the d pawn, the bishop will be kicked, and this is what white did. Yeah, that's just good. And black take the pawn. So if you take the pawn, so it turned out black spent like 30 seconds on this exchange, but I would say I will spend more time than 30 seconds, and because this move looks simple, but actually it involves a lot of questions. So first of all, do we have any other plays for the bishop instead of, for example, trading with a knight? So probably we can move the bishop back to b6. It's not a big problem. The center is still very solid. And if we take the pawn, why take our bishop? We take the knight. So the question is, when the game was turning into this end game, which side does this position favor? I think because white have this pair of bishop, which is usually stronger than a bishop with a knight, I think white is better. And so yeah, we need to take some time to calculate what is the best outcome in terms of the position. So I will move the bishop back to d6. This is what I would do. So okay, black take the queen. Okay, the game goes into endgame, and if we look at the evaluation bar, white is slightly better. I think the reason is what I mentioned. White has pair bishop. This is usually better than a knight and a bishop. Especially this position is open. This favors bishop. Knight a6, maybe knight e7, and castle. And also I think it's very critical for the light square bishop to be developed. So knight e6, bishop e3, knight b4, knight a3, knight f6, castle, castle, c3, knight d5. Yes, what about knight d3? Attacking the pawn and attack the c5. And also maybe we can move the knight to e5 to exchange with one of the bishop. Yeah, knight e5 is okay. Knight d3 maybe it's more active. And once we move the rook to d8, or maybe after, I mean the rook has to protect the pawn, or b3, and then we can push maybe e5, and this bishop can be developed to f5. So we can develop bishop and then move the rook to control the open file, and I think that looks great. So bishop knight to d5, bishop to d4. This is a really good move because now the black knight is probably going to exchange with the dark square bishop. If it happened, white will have a bad isolated pawn, and also as I said, the pair of bishop is an asset for white. So avoid trading is a good strategy. And next question is, where should we place a bishop? This move is impossible. It will be captured. Bishop g5 looks like aggressive, but there's no queen behind the knight, so we don't like pin anything, and black can kick the bishop very easily. So bishop d2 is passive. It blocks the d file, and also the bishop is very limited in its movement. So the best place turned out to be bishop d4 because first of all, we avoid being captured. We still protect c5, and also we control e5. As long as we can control the e5, the light square bishop cannot really develop. And if the light square bishop is stay at c8, this rook is very hard to be developed. So bishop d4 is a really good move. And also, if we look at this diagonal, we can like more or less control or prevent black pushing the b pawn, because we can have two pieces control the b6, and I will talk about that later. So rook e8, black is trying so hard to push e5. I see, well, that's another good move because we control e5, and then we can move knight to d6. This is a really great square to be occupied for the knight. And black doesn't have a dark square bishop, so it's really hard to exchange with the knight or kick the knight away. So knight d7, black still tries so hard to push e5. That's good, and we exchange. Well, to be honest, I don't think exchange with the knight is the best move. Maybe you can kick the rook first, and let's see where should black move the rook. Maybe rook to d8. Then why can't we kick the knight with c4? So we can keep the bishop and kick the knight with c4. If knight goes to f6, and we can move this rook and double the rook, control d file. Once we control d file, we can move our pieces and control the d file. So my point is, I think we can kick the center knight, so we don't have to exchange with the knight at center. And I think this is a really important position for black to think about. Should we take the bishop with the c pawn or the e pawn? I think the difference is, if we take with the e pawn, the e file is the open file, and the question is, which side is more capable to control the e file? And I think the answer is white, because look at this piece structure. It takes 1-2 moves at least for black to connect the rooks, but it only takes one move for white to control the e file, and also the rooks are connected. So which means it's easy for white to control the e file than black. So in that case, I will take the bishop with the z pawn, because I can keep this e file closed. So this is favors us. So take knight, yes. So now white is, if you see the variation bar, is 2 plus 2.4. So b3. So the b3 is a mistake, to be honest. We want to make the pawn safe, but we miss some opportunity in terms of position, because we can just control the e file, and I don't think black dare take the pawn because there's a background problem. And black takes the rook, we take the rook, and we are threatening checkmate and also win material. And I think black is losing, because knight f6, we can take the knight, and also rook e8, we can win the bishop. Knight to f8, rook to e8, take the bishop. So yeah, so white is winning, just simply as rook e1. maybe rook e6 is better, but I think white have a couple of moves. For example, we can take the rook and move this one to attack the pawn, and king cannot go to f7, so I think white can win the pawn at least. So if knight to f8, we can, so it's really hard for white to, so for black to divide these two pieces, and knight e8, knight no, knight c7, no, we have these two pieces, and so I feel like we can first of all push the a pawn to a4, a5 to stop b6, which means the bishop has to stay here forever if we want to protect the b7. And another thing is, maybe avoid, we can push f4. What about this move? We can then push f5 to force the black rook to trade our rooks. This is even better, I think. So rook e1, at least it's better than b3. b6, b4, yeah, so white, I think, wasted two moves here. So the light square bishop can go out, and rook f8, h6. Okay, so how can black deal with this e file? So that's a problem. So if after trading the rooks, rook to e1, the thing is the d6 knight is really strong. Black cannot protect the bishop with the e8 rook. So actually I think king f8 is the only way we can defend this two square, even though it's passive, it works. So h6, take rook e1, this is really good. Rook e7, yes. So I think from this position white is winning. Attack d7 and attack f7. Black cannot protect these two pieces. b8, threatening backward check, but we can defend that well. Knight f6, take this pawn, and take this pawn. Yeah. Once the rook reaches e7, I think the game is over. And these three pieces are super strong. They are like collaborated with each other very well. The knight control these four squares, and the rook and bishop attack g7, and the bishop also defend all the pawns. The rook is also protecting a2. I don't think black have a chance to fight back. So actually, I would take the pawn. I would take the knight. I'm threatening the bishop and also threatening promotion. So if black moved, I don't know, bishop to c4, check, d7, and then we have a queen. If bishop go to a6, pin the bishop, and we will win the bishop. So yeah, take the pawn. Yeah, I think white's still winning. Bishop f6, bishop h, yeah, that's a good move. So actually we can move bishop h7 right now and threatening a skewer. Also d7, h8, we can have a queen. Bishop f6 is okay. And yeah, I think black is definitely losing. Yeah. Cool. That's it.